Hey, what's going on guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and today I'll be doing my first impressions on the Reebok Nano X3 Adventure. So I have been training in this shoe over the last 3 days, and I want to share some thoughts on this model and just kind of highlight some of the construction changes in the shoe. I will have a full review on this model in the very near future, so definitely stay tuned for that. But I wanted to kind of give you like a first looks into the shoe because I have had a lot of asks on this model. So my 5 first impressions in the shoe is number 1, I think this is the strongest Adventure model to date. Now, I liked the Nano X1 Adventure better than the X2 Adventure. I thought the X2 Adventure had like a weird fit and like it was almost trying too hard to really deliver that adventure to its name, and like I thought the top eyelet put a lot of pressure on the foot, etc. So the X3 Adventure, I think it has more features that really kind of feed into its niche construction, and it also feels like an upgrade versus just kind of a spin-off model with like a slight novelty to its upper construction and whatnot. So the X3 Adventure, I think, has been the strongest Adventure model to date. Right out of the gate, after my first 3 workouts, I've been really vibing with this shoe. My second first impression with this model is the Vibram outsole in the shoe is a good move. So one of my other favorite trail shoes at the moment is the Merrell Trail Glove 7. That model also has a Vibram outsole. So I honestly love when companies use that Vibram rubber because it typically lasts a while, has a good durability, and you usually get good grip with it. And so with this shoe, it has a full rubber Vibram tread here, and the lugs feel super aggressive and grippy compared to like I think the prior iterations, and they feel like they have a little bit more of like this like tackiness to them. And I think a lot of that stems from the Vibram rubber. So Reebok, I think that was a really good move in the shoe, and I'm stoked you guys did that because I think that will give this shoe's outsole a longer runway. Plus, with that extended outsole up here on the toe box, I think you'll also get more durability with this outsole wrapping up because it's Vibram rubber versus just your more standard rubber that might not have the same level of tackiness and durability that Vibram has typically shown on different trail shoes. My third first impression with this shoe is the boot construction is interesting. And now I thought I was gonna have heel slip in this shoe because the boot does have a slightly like looser build to it. However, that wasn't an issue. But I have had some folks reach out and say, oh, in the X3, I've had heel slip, or it took a while to break it in. I had to like crank the laces in before it got more maneuverable to where I wasn't popping out of this heel. So if that is you in the Nano X3, this would be something that I would be very conscious of. And so if you plan to invest in this shoe, it will likely have to be another model that you have to crank the laces tight on to prevent that until you get that midfoot a little bit more malleable and broken in. My model is starting to break in pretty well, so I do have more flex through the midfoot compared to right out of the box. But this heel did worry me out of the gate because it is a little bit more loose and open. And that also kind of worries me too on trails if you are using this for hiking and running, getting gravel into that. So that will definitely be something I'm keeping an eye on for with my full review. But the heel construction, I think it could be really hit or miss depending on how your foot anatomy aligns with the shoe. And again, to reiterate there, if the X3 gave you issues regarding your heel popping out, I would say definitely keep an eye on that in the X3 Adventure, and I'm really curious to see if that's an issue for you in the shoe because I see that Reebok's trying to add some padding up here at the top of the collar, I think, to prevent that, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be foolproof for every foot anatomy. My fourth first impression with the shoe is, honestly, like I feel like the shoe has grown on me regarding its runability. So I have used this shoe for some short tempo runs and for a 5K, and they've been pretty dang comfortable. And I think Reebok is starting to kind of hit their stride into building out their Nano shoe line to be a little bit more runnable. So I think if you are somebody who wants a shoe for training, but then also going for some short runs, whether that's on the treadmill, a woodway, or outdoors, I think the Nano X3 Adventure could be a really good option for you. And again, with this Vibram outsole, I think this will give you more tackiness and better longevity with the shoe. And I think this shoe should work on like, I think, gnarlier terrains compared to the X1 and X2 Adventure because the lugs also feel a little bit more aggressive regarding their depth. My fifth first impression with this shoe is I think it could be a really good option for a little bit of everything depending on what you want out of your model. So like the X3, it's a very versatile shoe, but I almost kind of maybe like the X3 Adventure a little bit more. And that's, I think, because you get a little bit more with the outsole in this model. It still performs just the same for lifting thus far, for me at least, and for my cross training and my Metcon focused sessions, but you also have that edge for outdoor work. With the upper in this shoe, it feels pretty breathable, but you do have some nice overlays to give it a little bit more beef and protection where you need it. So around the toe box here, so if you're scraping on a rocks and whatnot, I don't think this is gonna break down wicked quick. Plus we don't have any stitching, so I like that we have like that kind of seamless flow around the toe box. And you also have like some layers here in the midfoot, and then you still have that lift and run chassis system that wraps throughout the shoe that has remained unchanged from the X3. Now my 5.5 first impression, and I made this a 0.5 because I was actually going back and forth on if I wanted to mention this because I still want to test it and make sure that the tongue isn't going to be an issue. But I like the tongue for the most part. However, I do have some concerns. So with this tongue, you have 2 loops here for security, and that kind of helps lock that tongue down. Now, the tongue is built to be wide. It does have a little bit of a padding to it, which is nice. However, there's no gusset in this shoe. And so I'm really curious if this is gonna move on some of my longer hikes and like kind of let debris in if it does move and slide. And I'm basically tackling rockier trails. Is debris gonna get in this model? Also, I'm curious about its security for some lateral work. So one of my goals is to do a lot more lateral training in this model to make sure the tongue stays secure. Thus far, it has done a good job, but it is something that's kind of concerning, and that's typically the case with shoes like this that have wider tongues that don't have gussets. It's always kind of one of the concerns I have, so I will definitely keep my finger on the pulse there, but I wanted to bring it up in this video. I decided midway through that I want to talk about it because it is a construction feature that I think is worth mentioning out of the gate here, especially if you are thinking about investing in this model. But overall, I have thoroughly enjoyed the Nano X3 Adventure. Honestly, this shoe is kind of like clicked right away for me, and now I'm curious if other folks are going to feel that too with this shoe. But in the meantime, I will be building out my full review very soon on this model. I just want more runs in this model, I want more hikes in this shoe, and I want to use it for a little bit more lateral and cross-training focused work. But if you have additional questions on this model in the meantime, definitely drop a comment down below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. And as always, y'all, drop a like on the video, drop subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next one. And yes, I am in a different setting today. I am on a road trip. I am in Michigan at the moment at my family's home. They have been really gracious about letting me stay here. Super grateful for that. But I will see you guys in the next one.